Right. So on the previous occasion, Jeremy's joined us. Jeremy, good. Your video is working. We can see you.
All right, no, great.
And we can hear you. Excellent. Yes. Welcome, Fenny. So this previous occasion, Dhammapada, verse 182, it was chapter 14, verse 4. We were looking at we're looking at the whole verse, but in particular, Kicho Manusa Pratilabho. Kicho meaning, originally it meant kind of lean or thin, then by extension it came to mean unusual or rare, something difficult to find. So the meaning of Kicho is like the rarity, the great treasure of finding a human birth. And Manusa Pratilabho, Manusa, from the root Manu, so not root Manu, root is Man, and then the name Manu, the primal man, and Manusa is of the tribe of Manu, therefore mankind. And Manu here, not man as opposed to woman, but man as opposed to human, just humankind. So the human obtaining, so literally the obtaining of human life. This pratilabho is, labha on its own means getting or a gain. If you talk about a mahalabho, a great gain. But this is with the prefix prati, which is this prefix that has the meaning of, originally it meant kind of back or in reverse, and then like reflecting back, and then something reciprocal, and then something that comes back to you. So it's the idea of engagement, reciprocity in this prefix here. So the pratilabha is not just obtaining it, but it's getting it in return. In other words, meriting it, getting it by you get it back in the sense of you earn it. You've done something that deserves it. So the pratilabha is not just getting it, but getting it in response to whatever you've done in the previous life. So it's actually more subtle and rather more profound than just getting. It's like deserving, getting it because you've earned it. It's like coming back to you, what you've earned, what you've merited, and coming back to you. So I'll just read it out in Kicho Manusa Pratilabho, Kicham Machanan Jivitam, Kichang Sadhamma Savanam, Kicho Buddhanam Uppado. So was there anybody either who was not here when we went through this verse last time, or who was here and didn't get a chance to recite? Was there anybody not here who wants a chance to recite? Okay, I appreciate I've asked two different questions. Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm in the category of I wasn't here for the lesson, the previous lesson.
Okay, right, yeah.
Lesson on this rather, yeah.
Well, would you like to recite it now?
Yeah.
Please do.
Kicho Manusa Patilabo, Kicham Machanam Jivitam, Kicham Sadamas Kicho Buddhanam Upado.
Okay, that wasn't too bad, but there's a little bit more emphasis we need on the doubled vowels. Saddhamma savanam.
Saddhamma savanam.
Okay, right, yeah. And also uppado.
Upado.
Do you know what uppado means?
Well, is it up plus pad as the root?
It is indeed. And it means the arrive. Literally, it's the upgoing. So pada just means going. So pada or pada both mean going. Pada also as a concrete noun means a foot. It's from the root pad meaning to go. So you get uppada, upgoing, which then is actually by extension, it means the arising or the coming into existence of something. So Kicho Buddhanam Uppado means it is rare for Buddhas to arise, or rare is the arising of Buddhas. It means you can't just be born in any kind of century or generation and expect there to be a Buddha around. It's a rare thing for a Buddha to arise. And it's the same Upada that we have in the Paticca Samuppada, the conditioned co-origination, as it's sometimes translated. The conditioned, this Upada arising, Samuppada co-arising or co-production, one thing arising with and because of another.
And anupada is the non-arising.
Pada, yes, would be non-arising. So where did you what in particular brought that word into your mind, Jeremy?
Your explanatory glossary, James.
Did it? Did I put it in there?
Yes. So you've got akusalanam damanam anupadaya
Okay.
generates a desire for non-arising of unskillful states.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that. It always delights my heart when I actually have hard evidence in front of me that people are actually reading something in the explanatory glossary. The hours and hours I've spent on it, and it delights me that somebody actually looks at it.
James, I've got a bit of a problem at the moment because I cannot find the text which is on the screen. I assume that was a handout, wasn't it?
It was in a handout. You will also find it, for example, do you have access to my to the Google Drive?
No, I don't think so.
Have you got the study resources guide?
No, all I've got is this.
It may be that you have not got all of the material that I've sent out. I mean, have you, for example, received emails that have? There was one email, actually, it was halfway through this year, but also was it in September or October for all new joiners and people who may not have had everything. I sent another email with a whole lot of attachments, maybe 8, 9, or 10 or something. Let me just call up the study resources guide. Where are we? Where's my study resources guide? Study resource. Oh, sorry, here we are. So this one, have you seen this, Krista?
Where is it?
This is the one I've got on a shared screen.
Yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
I think, yeah. But I'm not sure whether I've printed it or not. Anyway, I'm just taking up too much time.
No, not to worry. It's actually important that everyone gets it. So we've got the study resources guide, which has actually grown to be a rather long, boring document, and now runs to, it must be 52 pages. You don't have to read it all at the same time. So at the near the top, that's the index. YouTube. So here you see, this is the link here to my Google Drive, and I've just clicked it. And if you click that link, you get to my Google Drive, which is here. So although all of the various documents you need, I will often send out by way of separate attachment, everything is also in the Google Drive or otherwise linked. So there's the Google Drive that and Garen Karunatillika.
Yeah.
There's the old one that's highlighted there, and then the new one.
Right.
The 2025 series
right,
analysis, and then there.
And then lesson 2, right, I've got it, hold on. Yep.
And then lesson 2, which is what we're on now. Click that, and up it comes. So that's right. The access through the through my Google Drive, and also Actually, there are numerous gateways into this Aladdin's cave. Because if you look in the index, so I'm scrolling down now, index, um, I've gone past it. Pali courses, okay.
Right.
Pali courses, you see eight in the page 8, go to new series. That's my new series because I did
Right.
some teaching material on this some years ago. So that's on page 8. So we scroll down to page 8. And there you'll find the videos that I've done in lesson 1.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I haven't actually done any videos on lesson 2 yet. But anyway, equally, you'll find a link to my Google Drive here as well.
Right.
So, I do feel rather embarrassed about inflicting on my students this kind of long, boring study resources guide, but I do know the risk of selling and blowing my own trumpet. When I say selling, of course, everyone has it free. It is, although it's long and boring, it is actually worthwhile getting to know your way around and getting to know what's in there, because over the years, a huge amount of material has been added to it. Not only the teaching materials I've prepared, but various other, external chants, external references, links to electronic dictionaries. And this covers Pali and Sanskrit as well. So I think what I will do is over this Christmas break, because there was somebody else who got in touch with me just a day or two ago saying, well, I was referring to my Google Drive, but he couldn't find his way into the Google Drive. So what I'll do, I'll prepare something over this break to make sure that everybody completely has access to everything, and hopefully it's not too obscure.
James. So I found it a bit hard to find that link because it's, alongside all of the other YouTube links. So if the Google Drive link could somehow be highlighted apart from all the YouTube links, so we could see it like first or in some prominent way. It seems a little not really buried, but you have it gets confused with the YouTube links. It's not so easy that it stands out.
Right. Yes, maybe I've been subconsciously kind of hiding it away like a gem to be found with effort. That was not the intention. It ought to be transparent. I'll do an updated version of the study. Welcome, Ram. I'll do an updated version of the study resources guide over this Christmas break. I'll send it out. And now that Anne is the third or possibly fourth person who's mentioned difficulty of finding the Google Drive, it will be given prominence. It will be given prominence. Okay, Ram, we were just looking at just recapping this verse, Kichumanusa Pratilabho, that we were doing last time. And your welcome appearance has reminded me that you asked me to check Leviathan. Yes, and I did. And it comes from a Hebrew word, the root meaning writhing or wriggling.
Right, now can I print?
The great wriggler. Actually, although I can't remember exactly what the Hebrew word was, that's almost exactly like the Arabic word yaltawi, because Leviathan yaltawi, the idea of wriggling and writhing. So it's the great writhing serpent under the sea. But the etymological origin of the word is in Hebrew rather than an Indo-European language. Anyway, it was fun looking it up and finding out. So thank you for asking, Ram.
Thank you too, James. Thank you.
Right. So before we move on, were there any questions or comments arising out of this verse?
James, I wasn't present at the last class as well, so I could try to read it.
Okay, yes, please,
Yes.
Anne, go ahead.
Kicho manusa pati labho, kicham machanam jivitam, kicham sadhamma savanam, kicho buddhanam upado.
Pretty close. I'm just going to ask you to concentrate again on the first line, because I'm even the first half line, just being kicho. And
Kicho
kicho manusa patilabho. Kicho manusa patilabho.
pati labho.
And the vital
Kicho
thing, go on, sorry.
Kicho manusa pati labho.
The important thing to bear in mind, and it's not so important if you're just reciting singly or to yourself. I mean, it's important, but less important. Where it's really important, that the heavy syllables and light syllables are vitally important if you're chanting in a group. So the really important thing always to have in your mind, particularly if you're reciting poetry or in a group, is the light syllables and heavy syllables. In fact, in Sanskrit prosody, that's the name given to them. It's laghu or garu, light or heavy. A heavy syllable, and it's pretty obvious what they are. There's nothing mysterious about it. If it's a long vowel, as in labho, it's always heavy. Okay, that's the easy one. G vitang, G long vowel vitang. Okay, now what happens if it's a short vowel? A short vowel, the syllable itself may be light or heavy. If the short vowel is followed by a double consonant, as in machanam, manussa, here we've got short vowel followed by a double consonant. Manussa, machanam. That is heavy if there's a double consonant. And if there's an anuswara, it's always heavy. Buddhanang uppado. So here, oops, what have I done? Uppado. Heavy, heavy, heavy. The first syllable is heavy because although the vowel itself is short, it's followed by a doubled consonant. In fact, it's in Sanskrit, it would be utpadaha. Utpadaha, and it would also be heavy, 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 garu, garu, garu in Sanskrit as well. So here it's a heavy syllable because it's a short vowel followed by a doubled consonant. Here it's a heavy syllable because it's a long vowel, and a long vowel is always heavy. And here it's a heavy syllable, the final one, because O is long by nature. Uppado. So bearing that in mind, I'll just read this again, kind of maybe slightly overemphasizing light and heavy. Kicho manussa patilabho. Kicho, long, sorry, heavy, heavy. Manussa, light, heavy, light. Manussa. So if it's a short vowel, just a short vowel at the end of a word, okay, light syllable. If it's a short vowel followed by a single consonant, immediately followed by another vowel, the splitting of the syllables would be ma, nus, ta, is how it would be done in Sanskrit and Pali. So it's known as an open syllable. Open, why? Because it's followed by a consonant, which is itself immediately followed by a vowel. Manu, manusta. Here it's a closed, the ussa, this us is closed because it ends in us, but the next syllable begins with a t, with another consonant, manussa. The easy way to remember it, short vowel followed by double consonant or consonant cluster, always heavy. Manusa, manusa. In fact, if you're careful about pronouncing the double consonant as double, you'll kind of automatically get it right anyway, even without thinking. If you pronounce manusa, just say manusa, Anne.
Manusa.
Okay. Now you got that right, and you got the length of the syllable right. You kind of automatically get it right if you're careful to pronounce the consonant double. Because when you're pronouncing the consonant double, you're actually literally spending a bit more time holding the vocal organs in that place where the consonant comes out. So, for example, ata, I'm not sure if the word is, but ata, you're actually holding your tongue on the tip of the ata, so it actually takes longer. And this taking longer and taking shorter becomes very marked indeed when you're chanting in unison and somebody gets one wrong. It's like you're immediately out of step.
Thank you.
So here, Saddhamma Savanang, Saddhamma, Sad, heavy, because it's immediately, it's like, treat that as a double consonant, Saddhamma, heavy. Dham, the A followed by a double M, heavy syllable because of the double M. Here we've got the word in A, an A. Now the next, there's a consonant there, but a consonant immediately followed by a vowel. So that's like Dhammasa, Dhammasavanang, Dhammasavanang. You see, you got that right spontaneously and automatically then, Anne.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dhammasavanang. Remember, if there's an anuswara, that's the subdotted M, it's always treated as a heavy syllable. So is there anybody else who had not recited and would like the opportunity? If there are no takers, we can move on.
Can I try, please?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Kicho manusa patilabho, kicham machanam jeevitam, kicham saddhamma savanam, kicho buddhanam upadu.
Okay, very nice indeed. One point I would mention, the final anuswara there, Jivitam Savanam, you are pronouncing it in what I believe is the authentic, both ancient and modern Indian way, which is correct. There are many people who chanting or speaking or chanting Pali will pronounce this final at the end of a line or sentence. Will pronounce it as an with an sound. But that is actually more a feature of Sinhala pronunciation and also very noticeably of Thai pronunciation. There are some people, I haven't quite had stand-up fights with them, but there are some people who will say, well, it should always be pronounced it's Pali, not Sanskrit. Once in one chanting group, I was chanting practice, I was pronouncing it as an and I was sternly told, James, stop, this is Pali, not Sanskrit, you said. But anyway, I decided to let the argument fade. I didn't want to have a stand-up fight with Rachel Hall. It will be known to some of you. So I think the answer is that if my view for what it's worth is that the authentic old pronunciation, the pronunciation we've just heard from Ram is probably the same way that the Buddha pronounced it. I mean, we can't absolutely tell, of course, but the evidence points that way. As I've said before, the good evidence to how it was likely to have been pronounced a long time ago is just listen to YouTubes of the Brahmins chanting the Vedas. You know, that's pretty good evidence as to what the ancient pronunciation was. So if you want to pronounce it like what I think is authentic Indian pronunciation, listen to Ram. But if people insist on saying Jivitang and Savanang, okay, fine. The Sri Lankans do it. The Thais do it.
Right. Thank you.
I mean, having said that, there are several sounds that the Thais just can't do. And for example, the Thais can't say Dhamma. They say something, it comes out as a Thamma. If you want to look for authentic old Pali pronunciation, don't follow the Thais. I say that with the most profound respect to our great friends in the Dhamma from Thailand. If you're chanting in a Thai tradition, as of course some of us present here do, via Nai Boonman and that tradition, then we will follow a Thai pronunciation when we're chanting, simply because that's the tradition that we're using. But if I put my kind of academic hat on, I will veer towards the more authentic old Indian pronunciation of the type that we've just heard from Ram. It's always so useful, Ram, if we have a genuine son or daughter of the Indian homeland with us. You see, just listen. That's probably how it was pronounced all that time ago. And the evidence is fairly strong that the actual phonetics of the languages, certainly the languages of northern India, don't seem to have altered much as time has gone on. As witness, you get people pronouncing, the basic sounds very similarly, from Gujarat to Bengal, right across northern India. You'll find these sounds being pronounced in pretty much the same way. Some regional variation, but nothing of great substance. Right then, shall we move on to our next verse? This and from what I can gather, I think this is probably one of this is the kind of verse even that school children will learn. This is a very, very well known verse, and it's meant to, so to speak, summarize the teaching of the Buddha, not in a particularly abstruse philosophical way, but in a fairly obvious way. So, sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanang etam buddhana sasanam. I was doing the ending there. I could equally have said sasanam. Just to comment here on this form, this is the etam buddhanam sasanam. This is the sasanam, the teaching of the Buddhas. Genitive plural of Buddha in Sanskrit, it would be buddhanam, with the anam, long arm, buddhanam. In Pali, you cannot have a long vowel followed by anuswara, so it becomes buddhanam. It shortens. In poetry, you do occasionally find that final M is dropped off simply for the sake of the meter, for the heavy syllables and light syllables. So I was saying earlier, the syllable would be a long syllable. The poet needed a short syllable here, so he took a liberty and dropped the M off. Buddhan sasanam. Incidentally, that's a liberty that you will find that poets in Pali quite frequently take, but no Sanskrit poet would ever do. You can't take those liberties with the grammar of Sanskrit. The grammar of Sanskrit is far more regular and fixed. Thanks in large measure to Panini, who kind of the famous grammarian who lived probably about the same time as the Buddha. We don't have his exact dates. Who produced a highly comprehensive and detailed grammar of Sanskrit, which remains an intellectual marvel to this day. I mean, how people could produce that with the use of a computer and cross-referencing would be brilliant enough. But to produce that work about 500 BC remains just an intellectual marvel. So anyway, it was partly thanks to Panini that we have the Sanskrit grammar, all the rules given as they are. So you can take liberties colloquially with Pali that you can't do with Sanskrit. So to analyze this one is, has a good claim to be one of the linguistically simplest verses of the entire Pali canon. So from the root kri, we have doing. So we have kriya or kiya, and karana is another way of forming the verbal noun from the root kri, meaning to do. So karanam means doing, and you just negate that the akaranam just means the non-doing. So the non-doing, sabba papassa, the non-doing of all evil or wrong. The word papa, do you use papam in Tamil, Ram? You do, okay, right. So, and it's often translated as sin. Okay, fine, but sin has all these kind of Christian connotations to it, but maybe it could be a little bit misleading. It's the doing of any kind of wrong or evil. It's quite a broad word. If you do or say something that certainly among the Hindi speakers that they don't like, they say, "Wo bada paap hai," that is a great sin. Don't like wo bada paap hai. So this is a compound. I'll put a hyphen in here. Sabba papassa. It could have been said sabbassa papassa would have been equally correct, but sabba papassa. So the non-doing of all, or you can say in a negative sentence, the non-doing of any evil or wrong. Kusalassa upasampada. I've done detailed note on kusala in the explanatory glossary. It's kushala in Sanskrit, kusala in Pali. It's the word that's often translated in Buddhist circles as skillful, like skillful speech, skillful action, skillful behavior. That's a kind of standard translation of kusala. But in Buddhist usage, it tends to mean anything that veers to the side of good rather than evil, and specifically good as conceived of as conducive to the path that the Buddhists follow. So anything skillful, conducive to the spiritual life would be kusala. It is both an adjective and a noun. So you talk about kusala dhamma, skillful dhammas, meaning in this context, skillful states of mind. And it's also a noun. To do good is kusalang karoti. He does good. So papa, incidentally, also is both an adjective and a noun. As a noun, it's a neuter noun, papam. It's also used as an adjective. There are a few words like that function equally as adjectives and nouns. So papa, kusala are two of them. So the attainment of good. It's more than just the attainment. There's some upasampada. If I've done a note on it. The upasampada, it's again from our root pad that we were discussing a moment ago, pad meaning to go. Sampad, it's like the here, the sum has the meaning of like a completion of what you're going. You're going and getting it. You have sampatti, meaning wealth, that which you have acquired. The upasampada suggests the mastery or the acquisition of it, not just getting something, but absorbing it into yourself. It's almost like a self transformation. The upasampada, you've made something your own. It has enhanced you. Incidentally, the word for the full monastic ordination is all in Theravada is also upasampada. Is the word used for ordination. So it's the full attainment of the status of a bhikkhu. So we've got here so you can attain your status as a bhikkhu is in upasampada. Here it is the kusalasa upasampada, not just doing good, but as it were, absorbing kusala into yourself, making the doing of kusala part of your own being, is how I interpret what lies behind the word upasampada. Sachitta pariyudapanam. I'm going to put a hyphen.
Sorry, James. The question on the pad root. I'm not sure about the etymology, and maybe I'm completely wrong or off the track, but I think it has probably two variants. One, you said pad is to sort of achieve and derive the sampatti and
okay. So sorry, I'll interrupt you. No, the basic root meaning is to go.
To go.
To go, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm also familiar with other words derived from pad, as in like literally to mean the feet, the ones that we walk with.
The pada is the goer, that with which you go, with which you walk.
Yeah. But is that coming from the same root? Is what I'm
trying to ask. It is indeed, yes.
Okay.
In fact, our English word foot and the Sanskrit and Pali pada are etymologically the same word.
Right.
Rather confusingly, let me just call up Bernie Williams here. Williams. Oops, sorry, the wrong thing. Just bear with me for a moment. Bernie Williams. Here we are. I'm just calling up. This is the turn off high. There we are. So this is our root here, pad, passport, padyate. I'm looking at the Sanskrit dictionary here, but the same considerations apply to the use of the same word in Pali. Rather confusingly, it has the meaning of to fall as well as to go. And Sanskrit is mostly so precise with so many words. I don't know why they had to give two meanings to the same root, but there it is, means to fall or to go. And then there's the pada from that same root, which means the foot, that by which we go.
Right. Right. Yeah. The other related words like paduka and things like that, like meaning slippers and stuff, they all originate from the same, I guess. So,
they do indeed. They do indeed. And also interestingly, a pada will mean it's treated as a half line of poetry. So a shloka will
Yes.
consist of 2 lines, and each of those 2 lines is divided into 2 padas. So a shloka will have 4 padas, which interestingly in Latin and Greek poetics, we also talk about feet with a slightly different meaning, but it's
yeah.
it's the we talk about the number of feet in a verse. So interestingly, in Latin and Greek as well as Sanskrit, that word feet is used. I guess the idea is like the rhythm of poetry. It's like walking feet. That's pure speculation on my part. So here with this we're looking here at 4 padas. So sabapapasa akaranang, the non-doing of all papa. Kusalasa upasampada, the attainment, but not the absorbing into oneself the real internal mastery and having it of kusala, that which is skillful, good, and wise. Sachitta paryodapanam. This sachitta, it's not the Sanskrit sa, which would mean with. This is actually, in Sanskrit, this would be swachitta, one's own chitta. So the purification of one's own chitta. So paryodapanam means just the cleansing, the purification. It's parivadapanam. Parivadapanam. Have I? Let me just have a look at this in the.
James.
Yes, Simon.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me. I kind of jettisoned a false friend with it, really. When I'd seen it before, I assumed the odapana was related to odaka, water, that you're washing it clean. But of course, it's not. It's from a completely separate root.
It is a separate root, yes.
Or da. And it's got the same relationship in English. You can have water and wash, which are from different roots.
That's the point, yes, yeah.
And so that for I'd always thought of this as what you're doing is you're watering it all over, thoroughly watering it and cleansing it, but you're not. It's a different thing altogether.
So all of that time you'd been assuming that it was the same word as water, was it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm just calling up Pariyodapana here in the explanatory glossary. Oh, just lost it. Right. Here we are. Yeah, it's from the root dai and diety in Sanskrit. I haven't actually done much on this one. So it appears in the causative form here, but don't let that bother you too much. Notice, by the way, this. So let me. The Sanskrit prefix ava, which tends to mean off or down, very often turns up in Pali as an o, just like a softening of ava to o. So in Sanskrit, for example, avatarati, down, ava down, tarati crosses, so crosses down, often used in the sense of coming down from one level of existence to another, would be in Pali becomes utarati. It's just a phonetic softening of the ava to o. And the pari, meaning around, cognate with the Greek peri, which we use in perimeter, pericardium, lots of words with peri in English, meaning around. It's the exact equivalent of pari in Sanskrit and Pali. It often doesn't have the meaning of around. It's just a kind of intensive form. So the Paryavadapana, it would be in Sanskrit. So Paryodapana in Pali would mean the complete cleansing, the cleansing around and down. So it's that kind of just an intensive meaning. Et buddhana sasanam. Sasanam, meaning teaching. Let me just share iPad. Can you see? Is the iPad up? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Oops. It's from the Vedic root shas, meaning to instruct or to teach. And so you have shasana, which then in Pali by automatic phonetic mutation becomes sasana. It's the same word. Just means instruction or teaching. So etam buddhana sasanam, this is the teaching of the Buddhas. Many of you will sorry, and then we've got a suffix tra added to a root. It often has the meaning of an implement or a means or a tool for doing something. So we have, many of you will have heard of the Hindu scriptures known as Shastra. Neuter noun Shastram, plural Shastrani. And the Shastras literally kind of teaching aids or teaching materials, teaching tools. So you've got the four. You've got the Vedas, you've got the Upanishads. I'm talking about Hindu scriptures now. Upanishad, and then the Shastras are the kind of supplementary discourses, teaching materials to assist people to understand the Vedas and the Upanishads. Not regarded as being kind of divinely revealed themselves, but these are just from human teachers, the Shastras, that enable people to understand the Vedas and the Upanishads. You also have the suffix ta, meaning the doer of something. So you have a Shasta, which means a teacher, which then in Pali becomes satta. We've got the satta deva manusanam in the Itipiso chant. Satta, which in Sanskrit would be Shasta deva manusanam, the teacher of gods and men. So this is I think, linguistically fairly simple verse. Do we have any comments or queries?
Hey,
Can I
James,
just
I have
have-
a question.
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead. So was that two of you wanting?
Two of us at once.
Okay, Chris, you're up on the screen now.
Okay.
Chris,
The sa is that the same as the Latin say?
it is, yes,
oneself,
yes, it
yeah.
is, yes,
Right, okay.
as in sui,
Yeah, and sui.
as in suicide, for example,
Yeah.
self-killing. It is that same, and suus and the,
Yeah.
Sanskrit swa. It is. And for example, you have from the swa in Sanskrit, swaka just means belonging to oneself, one's own, which in Pali becomes saka. And also, as a neuter noun, swam just means that which belongs to you, that which you own. And if you add the suffix mi to it, it actually lengthens the vowel. So you get swami. So our well-known Indian word swami, meaning like a spiritual teacher, for example, literally the original meaning was the owner or the boss, like the owner of the business, the owner of the farm was the swami. So then it, by extension, it came to have the meaning of a spiritual teacher. So that's the original meaning, boss, from that primitive root swa, meaning oneself, and also what one owns. So in Sanskrit, the sachita would actually be written as swachita. Mm. And again, this is a compound, sachitta pariyodapanam. It would have been equally correct to say sachittassa pariyodapanam. And there wouldn't have been any variation of meaning there. It's entirely optional in Sanskrit and Pali whether you make a compound of these words or not. Just as I said in this first line, it could have been sabbassa papassa or sabbapapassa. There's no discernible variation in meaning between them. There's actually one place where you can emphasize, you can have the word, this buddhana sasanam. The word, you can say Buddha sasanam, and you very often do find the expression Buddha sasanam, meaning the Buddha teaching, the teaching of the Buddha. An interesting point arises here that you should be alert to. Let me just call up the iPad again. Here we are. When you compound a word like this, Buddha sasanam, the standard rule is that in a compound, samasa, as they call it in Sanskrit and Pali, literally throwing together, samasa, only the final member is declined. The ones before the final, you can have long strings, they don't decline, they just appear in their stem form. Now, Buddha sasanam, because this Buddha in this form is not declined, you can't tell whether this is meant to mean the teaching of the Buddha, singular, or the Buddhas, plural. The way it appears here, it is ambiguous. It could mean either. If you separate out the compound, as here, you can disambiguate it. So buddhana or buddhanam, regularly sasanam, would mean specifically the teaching of the Buddhas. It could equally have been said buddhassa sasanam, buddhassa singular, meaning the teaching of the Buddha. But in its compound form, there is a potential ambiguity there. But here, as I say, it's specifically plural. This is the genitive plural. So it's being emphasized here, not just the teaching of the one Buddha that we know, but the teaching of all of the Buddhas of the past. That's the point that's being emphasized here. If it just said Buddha sasanam, people, I think, would automatically assume, okay, the teaching of the Buddha. We're talking about the Buddha here, our Buddha, so to speak. But the poet here is emphasizing not just our Buddha, but all the Buddhas of the past. So he's removed the ambiguity by specifically giving us the genitive plural form.
There's an example of one Buddha only in Ratana Sutta, I think. There is a word I remember. I was just checking. There's Ye Suppayutta Manasa Dalena Nikamino Gotama Sasanam Hi. So,
Okay, right, yes, exactly so. So
yeah,
there, of course, unambiguously singular there.
yeah.
Yes. No, well remembered, Ram. Well remembered indeed. So, I'll just read it through once more. Then we'll have our break because we're almost on a few seconds to for 4 o'clock, and then we'll have any queries and recitations after that. So sabbapapassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanam etam buddhana sasanam. And again, you've heard me saying the final pronunciation, bear in mind, if you want to say it as an that's absolutely fine. That we can just treat these as legitimate regional variations in how the word is pronounced. And I just note that because for Ram, it's very natural to pronounce it with the final because that's how you do it in Tamil. Equally, Sinhala speakers would have a more of an sound as well as Thais. Okay, so what we'll do then, I'll just pause the recording and I'll see you again in 15 minutes.
Right.
There we go. Thank you. Pause. Recording. Good. There we are. Thank you. So before we start the recitations, were there any comments or queries arising out of the language or meaning here?
Yeah, James, I had a question.
Yes, Anne, please.
The translation of chitta, or chetu as well, is kind of challenging, I think, for the Westerners. And so I was wondering if you had any thoughts about it. In the door to the six senses, the door for the mind is, in the commentaries, it's the heart. But it just seems that the heart-mind connection is accepted in Eastern thought and totally separated in Western thought.
It's yes, and it's actually really interesting that you should raise this point just at this moment, because actually a short while ago, Simon and I were both on a retreat led by Chris Murray-Jones, in which there was much discussion of the meaning of this word chitta. And then it just so happened, oh yes, and then Chris was then talking to Paul Dennison of our Samatha Sangha, who then got in touch with me, but asking for interpretation and my best translation of a couple of words, including chitta and vijnana. And then I thought, oh, I can do this. And I started writing, and then it was actually quite a wonderful experience just to realize how ignorant I was. You start trying to write down for people who actually know quite a lot about it. You just come across and come on like a barrier of ignorance where words start to fail. And I kind of chickened out about a week ago. I said, look, I need to sit down and think about this a little bit more. I will be back to you in the course of the next week. That's the next week, which we're now halfway through. To try to find a comprehensive one-word translation of chitta, my advice to everyone is don't even try. There's absolutely no harm at all in using, as I've said this many times before, using the medium of the English language to explore, describe, shine light on different aspects of it. But certainly not to say this is the correct translation. So if one says, what is the correct translation of chitta? And the answer to that really is no. I mean, it's getting more and more entrenched in my mind. Don't even try. Particularly because the word chitta now seems, the more you explore, the more the range of meaning. It seems you can have a chitta that is radiant, but pasaram bhikkave chittang, radiant, O monks, is the chitta. Then agantukehi hilesehi upakalitang, defiled by transient or adventitious defilements. So the chitta is something that is naturally radiant. It is the radiance behind us. In fact, in Sanskrit, is the Hindus, particularly Advaita Vedanta, they call it the Chaitanya. In specific, the chitta is a broader of this, the Chaitanya, the radiant, the Sakshi, the seeing witness behind, the natural radiance. But it can get upakalitang, it can become defiled. So the chitta seems to have a range of meaning from something almost parallel to the Vedanta Atman, down to the mind, the ordinary mind. I suppose you can talk about the heart mind as kind of the halfway between not just the thinking mind, but the emotive, the feeling, the experiencing mind. But the more you go into it, the more difficult it is to pin it down until you just stop. But I mean, if you force somebody, what's the least bad trauma? You can kind of heart/mind, and yes, that is the. I'll be right back to you, Simon. It's the union of heart and mind. When the Chinese, for example, talk and write about the mind, the chitta, they use the word xin, which actually originally meant heart. In fact, the word originally meant the physical, biological heart, and by extension, the real seat of the self and the emotions. Among the Chinese, is the xin. So it's quite a vexed thing. So the more I think about it, the more I come up initially a little bit dismayed, just overjoyed at the extent of my ignorance, just standing on the abyss of the vast knowledge that I do not have. Simon, your hand was up.
Yeah, I mean, just further to this one, I think in the West, what Anne was pointing to, we tend to think of it as something like a thing, an object almost that we can see, as if it's like, our sensibility, but seen at a distance. This is a particularly interesting verse because it doesn't have to mean that. It can mean like a thought or an intention, just the process of thinking. So in this particular case, one's own thought, that which is present to you at the moment, that which you're intending, should be cleansed. That's the teaching of the Buddha, rather than trying to see it as something which over a long period of time you have to like buff up and polish until it becomes, completely perfect. But just what you're doing now in the present moment is the teaching of the Buddhas.
My response to that is I think that's a particularly profound insight, because my mind had veered, my chitta had veered towards the kind of the broader, wider meaning of chitta. But if we look at the Abhidhamma, for example, we have chitta after chitta. I mean, you might have numerous chittas, and used in the plural, chittani, within even a tiny period of time, a rapid succession of chittas. So here we've got this chitta being used in a variety of different meanings. What is in one's heart mind at any given moment, which is rapidly changing, to the kind of unchanging or not so quickly changing chitta behind it, and then a kind of higher chitta, even further behind that as the witness, the observer of our life. So yes, I think this can have. This could have all of those meanings, but I like Simon's one. I mean, what are you doing right at this moment? What's in your mind right at this moment? And if it's wrong, if it's impure, pure. So I like that interpretation, Simon. I back you.
It's a bit like there's a story. I think it's somebody like Ajahn Chah who was taken to see the king, and the king asked him which defilement should I work on? And Char looked at him as if he was daft and said, "The one you've got now, of course."
Yes. Rather than digging around for an old one that needs working, what you've got now, of course.
But I like what you just did, James. I mean, when you said it's in your mind and you put your hand to your head. So I don't know how you made that correlation.
Maybe that was just my deep Western conditioning, putting the hand to the head rather than the heart. Well spotted, you see. It took an Indian to spot it, didn't it, Ram? Then maybe with other Westerners wouldn't especially have noticed, but you did. So
Sorry for dragging this a bit longer, but
no, please.
I just like to split even the word chitta even further. And what do you think of the shi or the chi part of it? Because that is not related to Shin that you were sharing from the Chinese origin before.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah. Because the chi from Advaita side that you were mentioning, the Nama Shivaya, the 5-syllable word, there the chi means fire or energy, and which is where I'm suspecting the shi or the Eastern tradition where shi denotes energy from Tai Chi and all the shi.
Yeah.
So this is that also reflecting on Pali side of things?
It would be lovely to think so. But for instance, you've got Tai Chi. No, that's a different chi actually. But you've got Qigong. That kind of chi you're thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one that the Japanese call Reiki, but in fact in Chinese is Ling Qi. Ling Qi in Chinese becomes Reiki in Japanese, literally the spirit Qi or spirit energy. It would be lovely to make a connection, but I don't think that in good academic conscience I can. The actual root of chitta is just chit.
Okay.
And which the original etymological meaning of that is actually brightness. The root of chit is brightness. So this word, if we look at this root meaning of it, we can see the idea of the chitta is that which illumines matter. It's that which makes it what would otherwise just be matter, and even our complex neural pathways. It's the chitta that illumines and gives us consciousness of what is happening in the mind. Sometimes it's translated as consciousness, and we know in the way of Vedanta, we have the phrase Satchidananda.
Yeah.
So Satchidananda. Let me just call up the iPad for this. Hang on, where is my iPad gone? Here we are. We got the phrase in Satchidananda, that is broken up of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, which is the ideal state of the realized person, which you could literally, crudely, we all know now this is a bit of a crude translation, but to give you the idea, Sat means being, that which is. Chit, in this context, commonly translated as consciousness, and Ananda, bliss or joy. So this word chit then, which is from which chitta is just a chitta is the past participle, is chit plus ta. It's a grammatical variant of that same word. Is the same word as chitta, and it's the word of the consciousness of the realized person beyond the mind. So here we have chit, meaning that which is beyond our prakriti, beyond our natural, physically based mind. So and this just shows how this idea of chit permeates through from the highest form of Satchidananda down to Sachitta, what's going on in your own mind right now. I was getting more and more puzzled by this, but then if you go back to the original root meaning of the word, which is bright, shining, illuminating, then it starts to make sense, because it's because of the chaitanya, the chit behind us, the illuminating chit that actually shines through and illuminates our mind, our ordinary human mind. It is again, I'm getting slightly into Advaita Vedanta here, but our appearance of consciousness in our ordinary everyday minds is treated as an abhasa chitta, a kind of a reflected chitta. We're getting into an area which I feel a little bit hesitant to tread in, but this is just now to give you an idea of this word. You can think of it as the background radiance of the chitta, which actually shines right through into our human consciousness and into our minds. And according to the Vedantists, the reason that we feel that we are experiencing things when we are experiencing the outside world, we think I am experiencing, is this borrowed radiance that permeates right through from the Atman down to the gross senses. I appreciate I'm straying slightly outside my remit here, but bottom line here, think of chits, think of the background meaning of brightness, luminosity, that will help you have a sense of the meaning of chitta. Jeremy, please.
Yes, it was just that you mentioned the sort of Abhidharma treatment of chitta. And the first book of the Abhidharma is Dhammasangani.
Dhammasangani, yes.
Sangani. It's just happened to be doing a like a course, a Shamatha Trust course on that at the moment. So it's interesting that the whole of book one in the Dhammasangani is Chittupada Kandam. So, and there the translation is the uprising of thoughts, and then you look at good states of consciousness, bad states of consciousness. So consciousness is then also falls within Chittam, and then just to get a flavor.
Was it the Chittupada Vaggam? Did you say
Kandam? Chittupada
Kandam, meaning as a section. That's the Chitta Upada. That's the same Upada that we were just looking at. The
yes,
the arising of Chittas.
Yes,
yeah. So that you're exactly on point there, because this is where in the Abhidhamma sense, you get these numerous chittas, succeeding one after the other. According to some people, you might get a very large number within 1 second.
Oh yes. But it's just on the sort of there's the sort of long lists and so on, and it says what on occasion is thought, and thought is then the translation of chittam, and it says that the thought which on that occasion is ideation, mind, but then it's got heart in there as well. Ideation is the sphere of mind, the faculty of mind, intellection, the candor of intellection, the appropriate element of representative intellection. So that gives a sort of a flavor, I think, of the Abhidharma approach.
It does indeed, yes, yeah.
To Chittam.
Are you using the Pali Text Society's translation there, the Rhys Davis translation?
Yes, exactly. Yes,
yeah. So it may not be for me to say, but I'll say it anyway. Going to treat that translation with some considerable caution, and do go back to the Pali for it. I think the one you're using might have been made quite a long time ago. But if you're using the Pali Text Society edition, I do strongly urge you to go through the footnotes in some detail. They're extremely helpful.
Oh, yes.
They might seem long and boring to start with. Come on, you're a lawyer, Jeremy. You're used to going through long, boring footnotes and mastering them.
I find them interesting, James. Very helpful.
Actually, they are the footnotes there are very wonderful and helpful.
Keith Munnings mentioned that Sarah Shaw, I think, is working on a new translation.
Ah, very good, very good. Yeah, excellent.
There is, sorry, it's Duncan. There is a Burmese translation, another English translation by a Burmese scholar.
Ah,
that is, it's maybe about 15 years old. That is probably much better than the Pali Text Society, which is about 100 years old.
indeed. So yes. Yeah, do you know? I kind of heard. It rings a kind of bell what you said, Duncan. But now you've mentioned that, I shall find it properly. I'm sure we've got another library in Manchester. As you say, one done by a learned Burmese 15 years ago is likely to be a lot more helpful than the Polytech Society one of over a century ago. And when one admires the people of more than a century ago who did the Polytech Society translations, but then we've just got improving scholarship, improving knowledge, improving communications the entire time. So the published works on it are getting better and better because everyone stands on the shoulders of people who've gone before. So anyway, thanks for that, Duncan. Simon, please come in. Yeah, Simon, please.
Yeah, just again, it's possibly more doctrinal than linguistic, but just the issue that there's a lot of stuff about the mind being radiant or being, this idea of light or bright.
Yes.
Sorry, minor domestic emergency here.
Is it resolved, or does it call you away from us?
So yeah, just the idea that the mind being bright or light, and a lot of people seem to treat this as being that one could have an experience as of a bright object. Yet it seems to me to be more about the mind behaves as if it were light, that it just illuminates what is in front of it. That's the nearest analogy that we can have to the operation of the mind, both externally and internally, that it's radiant in the sense that it goes from an apparent central point to illumine what is around it, rather than it being something which is bright like an object, like the sun or the moon or a nimitta or something.
That certainly does coincide with my own understanding of it, and equally the understandings of it that I've heard expressed, that it's not kind of a bright shining object that you can see. It's, as it were, the behind. It's the I think it's said in one of the Upanishads. It is the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear. It's what sees behind the seeing eye, and the radiance comes from behind and casts its light, its ability to see, its ability to experience from down into matter, down into nature, not the external bright. So Simon, yeah, exactly that.
I mean, there's quite a lot of stuff on the internet and in books and so on with people talking about if you purify the chitta, you end up with this kind of perfectly white, shiny thing. Whereas the chitta is always radiant in the sense that it can irradiate and illuminate some pretty nasty objects. It doesn't matter what it's doing, what kind of filth you're dabbling in, it's still radiant in that sense.
Yeah, well, that's the early part of the Anguttara, I think, Nikaya. It's Pabhassarang Bhikkave Chittang, radiant or luminous amongst is the mind, and that's the Agantukehi Kilesehi Upakalitang, defiled by transient defilement. So behind it, naturally radiant, but as it penetrates through the layers of the human mind, then it becomes more defiled. And it is recognizing this that any of us, all of us here, are following a path of practice. It is the great avidya, the great ignorance, to be kind of outturned outwards rather than stop and turn back. So I'm just going to bring some things up here. Actually, I've got the opportunity at the moment to give myself a slight bit of mental light relief at the moment from mental light relief from the heavy labor that I've just been going through. And that is to come back to Simon's point on water. Where there's actually some entertaining etymology of that. In fact, water, we've got the Vedic root ud or und, from which we get uda, udaka, udra. So the root meaning of ud means to flow or water, you see, to wet or to bathe. The ud from which we get udaka and the wet of our English word wet are the same root with the same meaning. You can very frequently you form an adjective in Sanskrit by the addition of ra to the root. So rudra, lots of ra. Udra is one of them. That which is wet, you see, and so it's water. So the udra comes udda in Pali. But there's a separate word, jala, but anyway, we're just looking at udra now. And udra, which of course directly cognates with our English word water, it is etymologically the same word. And with the Greek word hydor, from which we get hydrate, dehydrate, hydroelectric, it's the same hydro. So Sanskrit udra, English water, and the Greek hydro are all etymologically the same word. In Sanskrit and Vedic, it's one of those roots that can appear without or with the nasal, so ud or und, but it's that same root, and that's the one that comes into Latin as an unda, meaning a wave of water. So when we get inundate, you have to pause for a while to see, but the und of inundate is that same word, same Vedic root und, or ud, which we have in English as water. So there we are. Udra, hydrate, inundate, water, all etymologically the same root. Incidentally, the word in Sanskrit for an ocean or sea is samudra. In Pali, samudda, just the dr to a double D. That's the samudra, the gathering, the coming together of the waters. So the rivers, all the water of the rivers, flow into the sea, the ocean, where they are gathered. So samudra is a gathered water. Samudra. So back to where we were. Any more questions arising out of this watery excursion?
There's also udrani. Udrani is commonly used as well. The one that you use to pour water for all the ceremonies and things. It's also called this in both Tamil, Hindi, and Sanskrit. Udrani. Yeah. It's the spoon that you use to take water.
It's like a ceremonial spoon for the pouring of water, is it?
Exactly, for all the sermons and stuff, the Brahmins use that to pour. It's called udrani as well.
Udrani, okay, so the water spoon, the water label, right. When I remember from years and years ago in a little temple where I was in the Himalaya, thinking back to 1968 now, 67 or 8, where they had a ceremony where they would pour water from the Udrani over the feet of a rupa of Krishna, because it's regarded as holy and auspicious to drink the water that has washed the rupa, you see. And they had a chant that goes to Krishna Padodakam Pitva, and Pitva having drunk the Krishna Pada Udakam, Krishna foot water, Krishna Padodakam Pitva, drinking the water from the feet of Krishna. And there it was. They used that. So Udrani, what did you call the word?
Udrani.
Udrini, yes.
Yeah.
So there were. Thank you for that, Ram.
Yeah, it often goes along with Pancha Patra Udrani. So you have like 5 different kind of bowls, and then you use the stuff, the ladles to pour water to.
Okay, the Panchapatra, the 5 vessels. Yeah. Mm. Oh, by the way, just on a little grammatical aside, I mentioned earlier this suffix. Where have I got it? I lost me. Here we are. I was mentioning this suffix tra, meaning like an implement or something like a tool. So the root pa means to drink. So a patra originally means that from which you drink, the patra. Like, for example, the mantra is a mind tool. And you've heard of tantra. So tan meaning, the original meaning of tan is to stretch. And it comes into Latin as tenuous, tent, comes in, which were tenuous. Also, the English word thin comes from that same root, and stretched out. So anyway, the root tan means to stretch. And a loom, that machine where you stretch the wool up and down and weave through it. That's the original meaning of tantra is the loom, because the tantra is your stretching tool. It's the tool on which you stretch out the wool or cotton or whatever it is that you're weaving. So this wonderful root suffix tra, shastra, as we were discussing. So back to where we were. So, any more comments or questions, and then we can go on to the recitation of it. Right, Fenny, do you feel inclined to do a recitation?
Oh, shall I go first, and then you can all improve on Sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanam etam udhana sasanam.
Okay, now you were very careful about the heavy and the light syllables there, which was extremely good. There's just one slight technical error. You pronounce that O short, remember, pariyodapanam.
Yeah.
And in English, we'd tend to pariyodapanam, we'd tend to say, but remember, it's got to be short. Sorry, it's got to be long. Pariyodapanam.
Pariyodapanam.
Pariyodapanam, yes.
Pariyodapanam.
I think you all know this already, but in Sanskrit, the E and the O are always long, and there are no exceptions to that rule, always long. In Pali, the rule is the E and the O are long unless something happens to compel them to be short. So on their own, it's long. It will be compelled to be short if it is followed by a consonant cluster or a double consonant. I'll give you one very obvious example. And that example is, for example, metta.
Oh, metta.
Metta. So on its own, the e, me, would be long, but the e here becomes short because it's followed by a double consonant. Metta, metta. If this were a Sanskrit word, the Sanskrit word is different. The Sanskrit word is actually maitreya. But if this word were Sanskrit, the A would still be pronounced long, even though it's a double consonant. So a Sanskrit speaker looking at the Pali word metta would pronounce it as metta, metta. Sanskrit has no difficulty with a long vowel followed by a consonant cluster. It's regular, normal, perfectly okay in Sanskrit. It's only Pali that wants to shorten it. So back to where we were. Okay, so thank you, Fenny. Krista, would you like to have a go? Just enlarge it a bit. You're still muted, Krista. There we are.
Yeah, okay. So Saba, yeah. Saba pa pasa akaranam kusala sa upasampada sa chitta pariyoda da panang etam buddhanam sasanam.
Right.
Where to begin?
Now, it does happen that if you're not fully conversant with something like this and you're reciting it, there is a tendency to kind of lengthen the vowels a bit, almost as if you're giving yourself a bit more time. But here, for example, it's sabba ba passa. You pronounce this sabba. It's sabba ba passa.
Sabba passa.
If you just pronounce that little bit again, sabba ba passa.
Sabba pa passa.
Very good. That came out.
Yeah.
And so now just recite this pada again. The sabba pa passa akaranam.
Sabba pa passa akaranam.
Okay, excellent. That was good. The quantities, as they say, were exactly right there. So Judith, we're round to you. Would you like to grace us with a recitation?
I will try. Sabba pa passa akaranam kusalasa upasampa sampada Sachita parayodanam yoda panam etam buddhanam sasanam.
Okay, so on this one, that became buddhana sasanam.
Buddhana sasanam.
Okay, right. And this one, it's a bit of a mouthful. It's going to say pariyodapanam.
Pariyodapanam.
Okay, that was so sachitta pariyodapanam.
Sachitta parayodanam.
Let's start dapanam.
Oh yes, sachitta parayodapanam.
Okay, now, it's actually quite interesting then, Judith, because you started off sounding a little bit English.
Not surprising.
But you very rapidly, when you were pronouncing after me, it very rapidly became authentic. So the ability, you see, that you have in your mind to pronounce it in a more authentic Indian style is not deeply buried. It's just under a thin layer. It's ready to come out.
But just lurking there somewhere.
It's not just lurking, very close to the surface. Just needs a little tweak and out it comes. Okay, thank you, Judith.
Okay.
Now, is there anybody who hasn't recited either with the previous verse or this? Have you done a recitation, Simon?
I was trying to keep my head down.
Unsuccessfully, I should say.
Here goes. Sabbapapassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta paryodapanam etam buddhana sasana.
Okay, that came out very well indeed, Simon. Thank you.
I will critique myself. I said paryodapanam, and it should have been paryodapanam.
Maybe that escaped my eagle eye, or should I say my eagle ear. So periodapanam. So how do you think you said it first time?
With a short O.
Ah, okay, right. You got away with it. Anyway, you are to be congratulated on recognizing and picking yourself up. So, Ram, would you like to recite it for us?
Yeah, sure. Sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada. Sorry, upasampada. Upasampada. Sachitta pariyodapanam etam buddhana sasanam.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. So before we move on then, is there anyone else who hasn't recited would like to have a go? And then we can move on. Okay, we can move on. So we'll start this. And I said we were going to move on to a bit of grammar, but I don't want to spoil the last class of 2025 by doing a bit of boring old grammar. So let's look at this this verse instead. Nahi vere naverani sammanti kudachanam averena hi sammanti esadhammo sanantanu. Vera is a derivative noun actually from the word vira, which in regular Sanskrit, vira meant the hero. As you have the Mahavira, the great hero, Mahavir. It's the same word that turns up in Latin as vir, meaning a man. It's the same word as in virile. Incidentally, also the same word as in virtue, so virtus. So virtue, in the sense of the superior qualities of the human being, your virtue, what makes you truly human is the virtue, as opposed to the animals. The ability to think, the ability to adopt a moral course is a virtue. But also the meaning took a little twist because it seemed to relate to the kind of alpha male. I'm more of a Vera than you are, the rivalry between one Vera and another. And that's the one that became Vairya or Vaira in Sanskrit and Vera in Pali. So originally it meant something like rivalry and then hatred. It's like this kind of alpha male thing. You can only have one alpha male present at the same time, otherwise there'll be a fight because you can't have two alpha males present at the same time. And I think that's what lies behind. And any further contributions welcome, but I think that's what lies behind the idea of how Vera, from it's just like this just an abstract noun from Vera, has come to mean hatred, or more extended ill will, rivalry. Wanting to be top dog or alpha male, as the case may be. So veran is verum is a neuter noun, so the plural is verani. So verani, hatreds, nasammanti verena, are not pacified or calmed by hatred. So not by hatred do hatreds cease. Sorry, Simon, please come in.
Just a thought on this one. If Vir turned into Vera, and so we have the idea that we've got virtue on one side, and then we've got it's gone wrong, it's gone bad, we've got hatred. Does that crop up again in the difference between like the Latin virtus, or virtue, and something like virus? Because we've also got for poison, we've got visam, haven't we, in the Pali?
Visham, yes, we have, yes, yeah. Visam in Pali, Visham in Sanskrit, yes.
This one from the same root that's split, so we've got a good power and a bad power.
And both derived from the same word.
Yeah, that's I'm just thinking, could that be?
Do you know, I think that's a very good point.
So virus, because virus isn't the same as virtue. It's not to do with power. It's to do with its poisonous quality.
Oh yes, that's a very interesting point. I'll do a little bit more research on that, Simon, and raise the point at the next time we meet. But certainly we see it in virus could put an extra spin on it, but certainly we see it in the vera hatred and virtue as the higher quality. What can make us human?
It's probably to do with overpower. I mean, fear, and we take the derivative of somebody that's courageous, but it also could mean overpowering or defeating. This is the virtue of a virus. It's trying to overpower and kill us, maybe. And then same with the wish, the poison as well. It's probably from that connotation.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, actually, Ram. Yeah, you got the power, and then it's the moral quality of the person who has the power, as whether it's exercised for good or evil. It's the same power, and it's the kind of the moral choice that directs the power for the kusala or the apa. Yeah, nice point, Ram. So anyway, I'll do some more research on the etymology of it. So samanti, this is the same sum as samatha, and it's the same sum, which is the Pali root, sorry, the Vedic root sham, meaning peacefulness or calm, from which we get the word shanti, om, shanti, shanti, shanti. It's that same sham becomes shanti. So it's I think it's that let me just trying to find me. Let me just actually call this up in the glossary. Copy. Bear with me. Okay, no, I've just done a few words, and I haven't fully finished this. Okay, this is kind of this. My note in the glossary is still work in progress. Yeah, but the original Proto-Indo-European meaning was actually meaning tired, and then by extension of meaning, it came to mean calm. But anyway, the Sanskrit word shanti, meaning peace, is a very well-known word. It's from the same sham shanti that we have samatha. In Sanskrit, shamatha just literally means tranquilizing or calming. So I think it's a class 4 verb in Sanskrit. Let me just call it up here. So again, this is Moni Williams, Sanskrit. So the root sham, yeah, class 4. Some of these words ending in an roots ending in an they lengthen the as when you conjugate them in the present tense. So you don't say shamati or shamyati, but shamyati. So shamyati in Sanskrit then becomes sammati in Pali. So it means to originally toilet or fatigue, and then to be allayed, and then to calm down. So it has the meaning of tiredness coming to an end, be quiet or calm. I think the original meaning tended to mean fatigue, but then it's come to mean with the positive connotation of shanti. So Verani nasammanti, hatreds do not calm down or cease. By hatred, nahi verena. Oops, lost it. There we are. Idha just means here, meaning in this world. An alternative form is idhara, which of course turns up in English as hither. So some of these words are entertainingly similar. Kudachanam. This root, suffix chana can mean adds an indefinite sense. So kim means what, kinchana means anything or nothing. Kuda, when, kudachana, at any time. So they will never cease. So nahi verena verani sammanti, not indeed by hatred, or for not by hatred do hatreds cease. Averenacha. Literally and, but here it's it is rather by non-hatred. Averenacha sammanti. It is rather by non-hatred, or the opposite quality of hatred, goodwill, that the verani sammanti, that the hatreds will cease. Esa dhammo sanantano. Sanantano, the Sanantano Dhammo, the Sanatano Dharma in Sanskrit, is it means having existed for a very long time, ancient in the sense of it's the ancient path, the ancient teaching. Just pull up iPad again. It's actually quite a homely origin. We're looking at the Sanantana. The word has got slightly corrupted in Pali, because in Sanskrit it is in fact Sanatana. Means the Sanatana, something that has existed for a very long time, and ancient in the sense of venerable, ancient. There is an adjective, a not much used adjective, just sana in part. It not much used, just meaning old. And it makes an adverbial form, sana. It's a Vedic adverbial form. Sana means from of old, something that is old, something that has existed for a long time. You may remember that in Latin, the word senex means an old man. And we also know the word senile, demonstrating symptoms of old age, like, constantly needing to be reminded to turn the recording on for these. So that is the same penile from senex thana, ancient or old. So from the original meaning of just meaning an old person or something that's existed for a long time, old rather than young, it came to have the meaning of something that had existed since ancient times, then the sana. Now, if you add a tana is actually an adjectival suffix that's added to adverbs of time. So sanatana is an adjective meaning which has existed from of old. Sanatana. So that's the original form of the word in Sanskrit. Sanantana is just a slight phonetic mutation of that in Pali. Sanatana is the original form. But for example, you can make the word, the Sanskrit word adya, meaning today. Sorry, Ram, we need to speak. You're still muted,
Oh, I'm
Ram.
sorry. I'm sorry. I was just meaning waving a goodbye. That's all. Sorry about it. Carry on, please. Sorry, I need to leave.
Are you waving goodbye to us, Ram?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just putting that in the chat, and I was not meaning to disturb you all. Sorry about it.
Okay. Okay. Well, see you next year.
Yeah.
See you next year, then,
Yeah.
Ram.
Wishing you a
Thanks for
happy
joining us.
Christmas and a happy New Year. Great. Thank you.
Same to
Bye.
you, Ram. Thank you. Bye. Bye. So adya, meaning today, and the word adyatana, for example, means of today. Something belongs to today, like present day something. In fact, the word adyatana is used for what we call the aorist tense in Sanskrit, and ajatana is the same word you used in Pali, because in Sanskrit, or specifically in Vedic, the aorist tense was something that tended to be used for the recent past, like it happened today. So in classical, sorry, in Vedic, you'd use this aorist, the adyatana, the today's tense, for a past tense of the verb, but a very, very recent past. So it's the adyatana. And I think I can't remember them offhand. There are a couple of other expressions of time where you had this tana meaning of today. So sanatana, remember sanatana Sanskrit and sanantana Pali. So is Dhammo sanantano. This is the ancient Dhamma, the ancient teaching.
James, can I just add one thing?
Yes, please do, Krista.
In Irish, in Gaelic, the word for old is shan. S-E-A-N. So you talk about an old man on Shan Far.
Well, clearly it's the same word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. I love
Welsh, hen, the same word, because the S goes to an H. So in Welsh, it's hen, meaning old, because the H and the S are sort of correspond. So you got
right. So we have both Irish and Welsh.
That's interesting.
These comments make me feel, actually, although delighted to see it surviving in the Celtic languages so directly, also makes me feel slightly sad that with both my parents from County Cork and having done a number of languages over my lifetime, I've never actually done Irish or any other Celtic. I keep telling myself it's something I should rectify before I die, but I don't know how long I've got left.
You have more than made up for it with all your other languages. So yes, thank you.
Okay, that reassures me. Thank you, Fanny. So, is there any more arising out of this? And we'll have a recitation or two before we wind up. Okay, then, well, if there aren't any more queries, 2026 will be a good time for them. So should we just have a couple of recitations before we wind up. Anne, we started with you at the beginning of the session. Would you like to do it for us?
Try. Nahi varena virani samatidha kudachanam averena chama averena chasamanti esa damo sanantano.
Okay, that was pretty good, but just can you do this last two pads again, being averena and with special emphasis on the double M's, averena chasamanti esa damo sanantano.
Averena chasamanti esa
Yes.
dhammo sanantano.
Right.
Samanti.
Samanti.
Samananti.
Samanti. They're both heavy syllables because the short vowel followed by a double consonant, but the vowels themselves are short. So samanti. Right.
Samanti.
Excellent.
Esa dhammo sanantano.
So who will be the first volunteer to give us the last recitation of the year? If no volunteer, I can choose a volunteer, shall I? Come on, Judith, you can do it, can't you? Sound really, really Indian now.
Oh dear, oh dear. Nahi verin verani samatida chanam avarena cha samanti esadamo sanantanu.
No, for this, particularly for this word, Judith, you slip right back into English. It came averena, averena.
Averena chasamanti.
Okay, averena chasamanti.
Averena chasamanti.
No, done it again. I know it's a bit unnatural to us in English to talk averena because you want to stress the a of ena slightly. So the preceding vowel, by the natural phonetics of English, we would naturally want to shorten. But be careful not to do it in Sanskrit and Pali. Averena. If it wants to be long, it's long. Averena.
Averena.
That was perfect. Averena.
Averena.
Exactly. Averena chasamanti.
Averena chasamanti.
On that wonderful note, I think we can wind up. So, what we could do then, should we just chant our blessing, and then we can bid each other farewell until meeting again in early January. Before we do that, I just wanted to point out one thing. Let me call up iPad again. What made me think of it was just the mention of January. We've got the Yana of the Mahayana and we've got the Yan of Januarius. They are in fact etymologically the same word, as I will explain. Just a fun bit as we go into January. We have the root I, meaning to go. And that makes an extended root in Sanskrit. I and Ya is Ya, meaning to go, is like a strengthened form of I. They are essentially the same root.
James, are you writing?
I can't see.
Are you writing?
I'm sorry, it's silly me. I'd stopped share because we were just about to wind up. Thank you for. Is it back again?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So all I'd written was the root I, meaning to go, and it's like the strengthened or extended root Ya, also meaning to go. And Yana, therefore, that by which you go, or you carry things, as in Mahayana, literally the great vehicle is that Yana. Originally the meaning is going. Now, in Latin also, you had an extended root, but you get, which gave us the word, sorry, is my pen playing up. Yeah, okay, sorry. You get the Janua. The normal Latin word for door or gate is porta, from which you get French la porte, Spanish puerta, and so on. But a more ceremonial kind of gate or door in Latin was the Janua. And it was a kind of the ceremonial thing. And the Janua had the specific meaning, the door, in the sense of you are transitioning from one state to another. There's also like the rite of passage, the ceremonial transition. You went through a particular gate or a door, a Janua, a traveling, a going from one status to the other. So then that now becomes but gate in Latin, door in a ceremonial sense. And the Januarius is the month of January. It is the gate month, the doorway month. It is the month where you transition from the old year to the new year. You do your jana, your journey, you're going from the old year to the new. And also where you had the god Janus, which we have in English as Janus or Janus, which is the god with the face looking one way and the face looking the other way. It's the god of the transition from one status or period to the other, looking backwards and forwards at the same time. So there we are. As you celebrate the new year, think of the Latin Janua and the rite of passage, the jana, the going from one state or condition to the other. Good, glad I remembered that. Okay, so shall we chant our blessing and then we can wind up. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada suti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada suti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanu bhavena sada suti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you all. Have a blessed Christmas and New Year. And I shall see you in January, hopefully. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye then.
Thank you,
Bye.
James.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.